Okay, back to Revelation, verse 3. And he who sat on the throne, and here's a description using all these stones of the Roman Empire. But you notice there is a rainbow around the throne in appearance like an emerald. By the way, a rainbow is actually a 360, but it's always stopped by the horizon. And so this is probably a true rainbow that's all the way around, that goes all the way around because there's the glass floor, so you could actually see this green ring like a rainbow. And around verse 4, the throne, were 24 thrones. And on the thrones were 24 elders. Boy, has this prompted a lot of discussion. What 24? Who are the top 24 Christians of all time? Who's going to be? Remember the disciples said, we want to sit in seat 1 and 2 on your right hand and left hand. We want to be in the best 2 spots. Do you remember that? And they were arguing over who's going to get it. Who are in these spots? Well, what's really interesting is God tells us first of all, the number 24 only occurs in the Bible in one context, the courses of priests. Do you remember when Zechariah and Elizabeth, heard that they were going to have a child through the angel that visited with Zechariah when he was by course in the temple? What was that? There were 24 courses of priests, and they served in rotation, doing the sacrificial, lighting the lamps, and refreshing the incense and taking the ashes out. That's 24. The priests that were in groupings, a 24-course rotation of priests. That's the only 24 number used in the Bible, except for here. So what Bible commentators have said is the 24 is 12 plus 12. 12 plus 12 what? Well, what are the 12 foundations of heaven? The 12 apostles. What are the gates? The 12 tribes. So what do the tribes have to do with? Israel. What do the apostles have to do with? The church. So this group, we don't know who they are, but we are very, very certain that we see in heaven the merging through the foundation and the gates of the old and new people of God into one. The people of God, the saints, the servants of God. And so the 24 would most likely represent the merging together of the Old and New Testament saints, and they're on these thrones representing us. But they have crowns of gold on their head. Now, where does gold with Christians ever merge? 1 Corinthians 3. Talking about we can build our life with gold and silver and precious stones. And that our lives are refined. And remember in Job, as he refines me, I'll come forth as gold. So these elders seem to have representations of their lives in these crowns of gold on their head, kind of like we talk about. Well, there are 5 crowns that the Bible says for sure we can get. There's the soul winner's crown, the crown for self-control that discipline our body, right? And so we go through these crowns. There's the shepherding crown Peter talked about in 1 Peter 5, and the soul winning crown is in 1 Thessalonians 2:19, which it says, you're my hope and joy and crown of rejoicing. Then, of course, James talks about the crown of life, those that love his appearing. But look at this. Out of this, here's the 24, they're on their thrones, and from the throne, lightning is coming out, and thundering is following, and voices, and 7 lamps of fire were burning for the throne. Notice what the end of verse 5 says, which are the 7 spirits of God. What is that? Well, a little bit later, we find that there are 7 angels that always stand around the throne. So basically what you're seeing is kind of like a visual movie drone view of heaven, and we have this flat crystal sea, we have this big throne with all the lightning, we have the big, emerald thing. In a minute we're going to meet the cherubim that are flying around, but standing there like pillars of fire are what we would probably call the archangels. We only know 2 of them, Michael and Gabriel. The Jews have already identified all 7 of them. They have, from their literature, Uriel, and I forget all the names of them, but they're not in the Bible, so we only know 2 names. But it says in Hebrews 1 that angels are flames of fire. Hebrews 1 talks about angels as flames of fire that are ministering spirits. And so there's a real connection in Revelation between all of these things. So they are around the throne. Now look what happens next. What happens when we worship? Before the throne, there was a sea of glass, like crystal. In the midst of the throne, around the throne, were these 4 living creatures full of eyes front and back. The first living creature was like a lion. The second living creature was like a calf. The third living creature had the face of a man. The fourth living creature was like a flying eagle. What are these things? Ezekiel introduces them. This is just taken directly from Ezekiel. And it talks about the 4-faced, eye-covered cherubim. That's plural. I-am means multiple. A cherub is one. A cherubim is more than one. This is what Satan looked like. Satan does not have red tights, pointy tail, pitchfork. He has 4 faces and he's covered with eyes. He's one of them. They were the highest. They're the highest. And among them, he was called the anointed in Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28, the anointed cherub. He was basically what we would call the worship leader of heaven. Ezekiel tells us that. So now, there's Daniel, chapter 7. Look what it says. I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient Days was seated. His garment was white as snow. The hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, and a fiery stream issued and came forth before him. Daniel seeing the same throne. And 1,000 thousands ministered to him. That's millions. 1,000 times a million, 10 to the 6 is a million. And 10,000 times 10,000, wow, now we're getting into from millions to hundreds of millions, stood before him. Now, when I was thinking about this, I thought, wait a minute. How much room does it take for that? I mean, a yoga mat is about, 6 feet long and about, I don't know how wide, 2 feet wide. And so if you're falling down on your face before the Lord and getting back up, at least maybe 6 by 6 is what you need. If you have 6 feet by 6 feet, which is 36 square feet, and you have hundreds of millions of 36 square feet, put it in Excel. Do you know how much room the throne of God needs? For all these people to have their space, to be falling. I mean, we're not even counting the saints. This is just some of the angels that it's mentioning. If this is the state of Michigan on a map, Michigan looks like a hand, a mitten. It would fill the whole center of the Lower Peninsula, just the area you need to have all those falling down yoga mat, angels in front of the throne. But so it's very large, much larger than we can comprehend. It's massively just this flat area. But look what it says is coming out of the throne. A river of fire flowing out of the throne. The throne is on fire. And it's flowing, a river of fire. Now do you understand why 1 Corinthians 3 is so interesting? When we all come to appear before the judgment seat of Christ, we're coming before that throne. And when we come before that throne, we're either on one side of that fiery river or we're on the other side of that fiery river. And the Bible says our whole life goes through the fire. What fire? Well, there's one. And it's right at the throne, and he's watching. And so it's kind of like, that's why in my mind, I imagine the judgment seat of Christ is all of us are pushing our Walmart carts, which has everything in our life we ever did, and we dump them into that river of fire, and everything that survives the fire is the gold, silver, and precious stones, the sum of our lives. So we see the throne. We see the 24 elders that are there, and the 7 lamps and all that is emphasized by this crystal glass sea that reflects everything. And those 24 elders are in white robes, and they have crowns of gold on their head, and they fall down before him who sits on the throne, and they cast their crowns before the throne. Now think about this. The throne, the sea of glass, those flying angels, those 24 elders, the fire, that's what we'll see in heaven.